In this episode, we're going to look at trade depots. So we want to build a trade depot so when merchants arrive, we've got somewhere to trade. And we do that by B for build, capital D for depot. And I'm going to place my first depot very close to this. Now I'm going to place it here somewhere. Yes, I'll place it there. And that's because it's close to the entrance, is it? And we want it over here, don't we? Let's see, somewhere about there. Yes, okay. So it's very close for them to be able to get in and out nearby our storage. And we'll make it out of logs. We need 3 items, so 3 logs. Now to build the trade depot, we click on it, they're waiting for an architect. So we need somebody who is an architect. Let's make someone an architect. Now I'm quite happy for everybody to be an architect. So just anyone can go do that. And as we get more migrants, I'll make everybody an architect. Okay, we'll let them get going on that. It's a good idea to start making some trade goods as well. Something that sells pretty well is trap components. So let's add some trap components. I'm going to make spiked wooden balls. And I'm going to make, let's say, a ball of any wood. And I'm going to make, let's say 20 to 30 of them. Okay, so our carpenter should go and get on the job. Let's make sure we've got somebody set up as a carpenter. What have we got everybody doing? Let's see, so Adam and Alfie, they're pasturing the animals. I just brought the pastured animals, the 4 large pastured animals. We've got the 2 llamas and the yak and the horse, and I've just moved them into a pasture that's inside of the area that we're now calling ours. Let's see, Bernie, you're not brewing at the moment. Maybe we switch your carpentry back on then. Yeah, it seems sensible. Okay, and here comes somebody building the trade depot. Okay, the trade depot is built. Let's just pause this for a second. On the main menu, you'll see capital D tells you depot access. So if we do capital D, yeah, we get this mess of colours. And this is height dependent. So if we go down, we can see that all of this area is green. If we go up, we see that it's red. So our depot's on this layer. Because it's a light blue D instead of a yellow D, that means that it's accessible. So an accessible depot, an inaccessible depot. No wagon access in this area because we're up in the sky on this area. But wagon access here because it's all on the same level as us. And if we go down, we can see that the wagons can get through here. Now you notice there's just a single line. Now a wagon needs a 3 wide gap to get through. And if we escape, we can see that there's trees on either side. So the wagon can only pass through between those 3. And so it says that this one point there is the center of the wagon, and that's where we go Shift D. That's the point where the center of the wagon can pass. So if you see a single line, that means that the center of the wagon can pass through that point. So it must have at least a 3 wide gap on either side. Right. Let's jump forward in time to when we have a trader arrive. Aha! A caravan has arrived. Right, we need to stop everything and take care of this. So the first caravan is likely to arrive in autumn. And the game pauses and will move your view over to where the caravan has arrived from. And we can see the caravan down here. So this is the trade caravan. Now the caravan is going to head to our trade depot. However, we've also got a visiting outpost liaison. He's going to head to our meeting spot. Now, because we don't have any meeting halls set up yet, he's going to head to our wagon. So let's go back there. Here's our wagon. So this is where the outpost liaison will come to meet us. Right, what we want to do is get a bunch of stuff to sell moved to the trade depot. So we click on the depot and it's G to move goods. Now what do we want to move? Now if we're selling to the dwarves, now it's autumn, so it's the dwarves that we're selling to. Each race comes at a specific time of year. Elves come in spring, humans come in summer, dwarves come in autumn. Dwarves will accept anything we make, humans will accept anything we make. However, elves are very, very fussy about accepting items that are made of any wood or any animal product. So you've got to be really careful what you sell to the elves. But these are dwarves, so we don't need to worry. Now I want to keep our meat. We want to keep the eggs. We want to keep the plants and the fruit and nuts and garden vegetables. We want to keep our seeds. We want to keep the drinks that we've got. Although I would be tempted to sell some wine. We're making wine out of plump helmets. If they were paying a particularly good price for wine, I might sell some of that. We have a copper pick that's not being used. We'll have to see about that. We want to keep the leather and the cloth. We don't want to sell them any wood. Stone is not very valuable and it's really heavy to carry, so no, we don't want to sell them any stone. We want to keep our nickel bars. We want to keep the glass. Now, all of these spiked wooden balls, we should get a fair price for some of those. Now we can select these in one of several ways. If I just hit enter on trap components, it will select all the spiked wooden balls that we've got. Let's press enter to say no to that. The other thing we can do is arrow over and press enter and then arrow down and select them individually. But let's reverse that. Or we can press shift and just accept everything on this page. But if we arrow across to the next page, it hasn't accepted those. Let's do shift enter to remove that. Go back to trapper components and press enter on that. And if we go down now, we can see that it's selected all of them. Right, what else might we sell? We don't want to sell our gypsum. These are a bunch of empty barrels. Don't really want to sell those, although if they were, good price, we might. Now goblets. Goblets usually sell for a little bit. What I'm going to do is sell the goblets that are not fancy. So we can tell the quality of the stuff that we've got here by the little symbol in front. If they're just plain mugs, there'll be no symbol at all. If there's a minus sign, then they've got a little bit of quality to them. A plus sign is better still, and the asterisk is better again. And a little sun sign, which I doubt if we'll have yet, is a sign of a masterwork. Now what we're doing is selling our cheapest goblets. So that's not necessarily the best policy, because that will mean that we're not going to get as much money as we would have if we'd have sold our best ones. Maybe we'll sell one of our best ones just to get a price comparison. Right, is there anything else we want to sell? I doubt it. No, so we'll move that stuff over. We should get a good price just for those spike balls though. Now, to be able to trade with the traders, we're going to need a trader of our own. And to set the trader, we go to N for nobles, arrow key down to broker, and it's enter to choose. Now we can use the arrow keys to look through these, and we're looking for somebody. We need somebody who is at least an adequate appraiser. Now we set Tammy up with some appraisal skills. Yep, and we haven't got anybody else in the migrant wave, so enter to select Tammy. Okay, and here comes the traders. Now our dwarves... Alright, the outpost liaison wants to have a word with us. He says, let's discuss our situation. We'll press enter. There is much to share. So this is information that's being added to our world screen. This is the gossip about what's going on in the world around us. But yes, we can finish peeking in on the conversation, so that's A. What requests do we have of the merchants? So this is what we would like them to bring us next year. So A, to begin discussion. Now it's always good to put something on this list. It helps to keep them happy with us. And if they're happy with us, then they will give us better prices for things. But what we're doing is we're going to select something that we will pay a higher price for. And if there's anything in particular we would definitely like them to bring, then we certainly would be prepared to put a higher price on it. Now, eagle leather is quite a cheap thing, and I would like them to bring leather, so I'm just going to put a little bit of priority on eagle leather. So it's plus and minus to move down the type. And it's arrow keys to move down the goods, and arrow keys to move across the priorities. So let's go down the type. Now, I would rather like it if they were to bring us some additional alcohol. I'm just going to increase the price slightly for ale. And the other thing I'd like to make sure they bring with them is gypsum. Again, it's a cheap thing, so increasing the price on gypsum doesn't affect us too much at all. But other than that, I don't think there's anything that we particularly want them to bring next year. Okay, they're going to show us what it is that we've agreed to. So we've agreed that we will pay 135% of the normal price for eagle leather next year, and we can look through and check all of that out. But we don't need to. Okay. And so now they are going to tell us what price they're prepared to offer to us. And let's have a look. Of the things that they're prepared to buy, they will pay a really good price for goblets. So he looks forward to our meeting next year. Our fortunes will rise and fall together. Okay, now that people have started bringing stuff up, we shall press R to tell the trader that they are needed at the depot. So at the moment, no trader is needed. If we press R, that will switch to trader is requested. And that's what we're looking for there. Now we have an option of using somebody other than our broker to trade. That's not advisable because unless they have an adequate appraisal skill, another dwarf won't know the value of the stuff that the traders are offering us and the value of the stuff that we've got to trade. Okay, they seem to have finished carrying everything up here, so let's get ready to trade. Now we've got T for trade highlighted. That means that we can get straight into it. Sometimes there is a problem in getting your broker to get to the trade depot, and we'll have a look at how to deal with that. Hello, Future Cell here. So I wanted to go into more detail than this episode would allow. It was getting very long. So I've cut out the bit about the actual buying and selling bit of the trading, and we'll cover that in the next episode. So let's just skip straight to a bit of troubleshooting. Now, there's things that might go wrong with trading. You might not get caravans arriving, and there's a few reasons why that might be. It could be that your civilization has become extinct, in which case they don't have any goods to trade and they don't have a merchant to trade with. You may get a message saying that the merchants have arrived, but their cart has bypassed your depot. That means that there is something blocking the depot, something that won't allow them to get to the depot. They don't have a path. And from the main menu, if you press Shift D, you can see where it's accessible and where it's inaccessible. The traders do turn up with armed guards, but there are not that many guards. And what can happen is something will attack the traders as they're making their way across the map to you. So the traders will be safe until they enter our playable area. It's not until they enter our playable area that they become subject to attack. Now, if we're under siege, the merchants won't arrive. They won't arrive until they know it's safe here. But if there's something dangerous wandering around the map, like a dragon or a titan, they may well become subject to attack by the creatures that are in our area. If they kill all of the merchants, then you can go claim the stuff after those merchants have gone. It then becomes your stuff, but you won't get any more traders. If they only kill a few of the traders, like maybe they only kill one of the caravans, one of the wagons, then next year you'll get one wagon less. So the number of wagons and other pack animals that they've brought is at a maximum at the moment. As they get injured through being on the surface, they're going to arrive with less and less wagons and pack animals. Now, probably the thing that causes the most trouble when it comes to traders is actually getting your trader to go to the trade depot. Now, we had no problem there. We pressed R and said, Tammy, please come to the depot. And Tammy came. What can happen is your trader can have other things to do. And often if the trader doesn't come straight away, it can then become a bit difficult. So Tammy, for example, has gone off now. She's gone to dig a channel. So we would have a lot of difficulty in getting Tammy back. She's going to finish that job. She's going to go and do that thing. She might decide she needs to sleep. She might decide she needs to eat. She might go and socialise. Actually getting her to the depot can be quite difficult once she's been there once. The biggest pitfall is to call your trader to the depot too early. I wait until my dwarves have pretty much finished carrying the majority of the stuff to the trade depot. Then I'll ask my trader to come to the depot, because if they come to the depot and they hang around here waiting and we don't trade pretty much straight away, they might decide that they're hungry or thirsty or they need some sleep and they'll leave before we've got them trading. So we want to get them there at the time when we're ready to use them. Now, if we really wanted Tammy to come here and do that, the way to deal with this problem, first of all, we would go to Dwarf Therapist and we would take off all of Tammy's tasks so that Tammy had absolutely no job. And that might be enough to make her come to the depot, or it might not. The other thing that we could do is to designate a burrow that is just over the trade depot. We'll do burrows in another episode, but that means that the only place where Tammy can sleep is on top of the depot. She can only eat on top of the depot and she can only drink on top of the depot, and she can't do anything else. It doesn't force her to go there and it doesn't stop her from going somewhere else, but she can only do an active task, including looking after herself. on a thing that is on top of the depot. So that is more likely to encourage her to do the job of trading. And if that still isn't working, then we can go to the noble screen and we can basically switch Tammy off and on again. So we can remove Tammy as the broker by making somebody else a broker and then add Tammy back. And if that still isn't working, if we were to take Tammy off being a broker from here, appoint somebody else, save and quit the game, then open it back up again and reappoint Tammy, with Tammy in a burrow with no other job, that's pretty certain to solve the problem. So if you do have problems with your trader just refusing to go to the trade depot, that's the most foolproof way to do it. But you don't usually have to go to that extent. And if you just pick your timing a little bit carefully so that you've got the majority of your stuff already delivered to the depot, and so your trader only needs to go there once and you're ready to trade at the time that the trader gets there, you'll probably be all right. It's rare that you get a problem in those sorts of circumstances. Sometimes the trader might have some kind of difficulty getting to you with some of their party. Most typically this happens when one of the merchants gets separated from one of the pack animals. For example, if you have a pathway to the trade depot that allows pedestrians through, so maybe the wagons have taken a different route, because the wagons need a 3-wide corridor to get down, the wagons will take a specific route, but maybe the pack animals and the merchants with those pack animals have decided to take a different route because they can see a way into your fortress which is a pedestrian only route and they can get through a door. Maybe that's a shorter route for them. But if that door doesn't allow animals to pass through, if you've closed it to pets, they will leave their pack animal outside and the merchant will go to the trade depot by themselves and leave their pack animal outside. And you'll get the message when you try to trade that they are unpacking their goods. Now, it's not until all of the pack animals and all of the wagons have arrived at the trade depot that the trader will be prepared to do business with you. So if you're a little bit fast in getting there, then you'll get that message anyway. It's not a message to worry about, not unless the traders have been unpacking their goods for a long time. That's when you start to worry. And if that's happened, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You have to the traders will just leave and come back again next year. Once a merchant has been separated from their pack animal, then there is no way to reset that situation in this current trade period. Because of the risks to the traders from operating on the surface, and because now we've got an awful lot of stuff that we've bought that's just hanging around on the surface, which could be subject to thieves, I like to move my trade depot underground. So let's just fast forward in time to where I've done that, and I'll show you how my underground trade depot looks. Hello, Future Sal again. So the underground trade depot turned into a really interesting build that I think we'll cover in a separate episode later. I'll put it somewhere where it fits chronologically with the rest of the fortress build. I hope you don't mind the wait. Thank you for watching.